Now, I got to ask you about Steven Garcia, and somebody you obviously know very well. You're in the same quarterback room. And listen, I'm not trying to, draw conclusions about your personal life, but I feel like when I think of Steven Garcia and Tommy Beecher, those are two polar opposite human beings. When I think of Tommy Beecher, I'm thinking of, mathematics. You talked about, your degree, very smart. Garcia, kind of a maniac. Not saying he's done. He's crazy. I love the guy. Freaking love Steven Garcia. We had him on the airwaves a couple of times. Awesome dude, but all over the place. Like, what was it like? Because it's funny. We had, Mike Davis on, the OG Mike Davis. I told you when I talked to him, that was Garcia's roommate he was talking to. He's like, I was his roommate.
Yep.
And he's like, I had to look him dead in the eye at times and be like, Steven, you cannot do that. You are the starting quarterback at the University of South Carolina. Stop it. Like, what was that like? Because again, like you said, you want to do well. You want your teammates to do well. You want the team to do well. What was it like managing, especially a young Garcia, who is a freshman, we all know, was a loose cannon? Again, I love Garcia because he is just genuinely who he is, and he's not going to change for anybody. You have to respect that in any human being. But that had to be a pretty fun dynamic. I mean, this guy has all the talent in the world. He's God-given. I mean, literally one of the most talented quarterbacks, I'd argue, to ever come to the University of South Carolina. But he was a firecracker, man. That's no other way to put it. Like, the dude was insane.
Dude, Chris, I thought I figured some of these questions are going to be about Garcia, and if it was any other buddy of mine, I would have had to call and ask permission to tell some of the stories. But I know Steven's going to be totally cool with me sharing some stories with you. I mean, he's genuine. Man, he had the type of personality that you need for a.
And guys rallied around, by the way. Guys rallied around. There's no question. Every time he'd come in the game, you would just see the team kind of just, like, this is our guy. We're going to battle.
Yeah, I've got so many areas of respect for Garcia and his leadership. He's a different type of leader, right? But man, no one was more energetic than the team when Garcia got in the game, and you're anxious to see what he was going to do. But I'm going to back up, man. The first time I ever met him, besides recruiting, he was my roommate. He slept right next to us in West Quad. He showed up in the spring. And I had no idea he was moving in to the room right next to me. And I get back from Christmas break, and there's a SpongeBob SquarePants towel in our bathroom. And I look in the drain, and there's this long hair everywhere. Like, I mean, the dude shed like nobody's business. And so I'm like, who moved in? No one was in there at the time. And then Garcia walks in several hours later. Chris, I'm not even kidding. He shows up to school with a small like backpack of clothes and a SpongeBob SquarePants. And that is it. No bed sheets, nothing. I mean, nothing was in there. And I was like, dude, what are you going to do? He's like, I got my dad's credit card. I'll fill it up tomorrow or something. So dude, and then he had one of the nicest dorm rooms ever. I mean, he had a huge, I don't know how big those West Quad dorm room walls were, but he bought a TV that covered the entire thing. He had a Wii back then. We played a ton of Tiger Woods golf, PlayStation 2, I think, and all that stuff. But that was my first time ever really talking to him. But man, we developed a cool friendship in there. And you're exactly right. We could not be more polar opposite on things that we take seriously. But man, he was so athletic and so fun to watch. And I'll never forget David Reeves. By the time that we found out that Steven was gonna be a big time player for us, him looking me in the eye and say, hey, now that you're not playing, Tommy, one of the best things that you could do for the team is keep your eye on Steven and make sure he doesn't get into too much trouble. And so I hope that he would describe me as kind of the big brother type. Now, I did a piss poor job, a lot of it, because man,
I was going to say, Tommy, where were you, man? Where were you?
Well, just think about had I not been there, Chris.
That's a good point. That is a very good point.